Right, guys. Good morning. It's about 2 minutes past 7 a.m. here. So today we'll be looking at Python loop constructs. And as far as I know, Python has two types of loop constructs. We have the for loop and the while loop. So today we'll be considering both the for loop and then the while loop. So without further ado, let's step into Python and see what we have. So as I've already explained in the previous videos, when you want to know what Python does, or if you want to have a general idea about something you think Python supports, you will use the help construct. So we have two types of loops in Python: the for loop and the while loop. So we're going to start with the for loop. So we're going to ask Python to help us with information on the for loop. So what do we have? If you can see, there are a lot of write-ups here, information about what the for loop is, and I'm not planning on going through everything, but I'll just read this first part. You say the first statement is used to iterate over element of a sequence, such as strings, tuple, or list, or other iterable object. So there's essentially one thing that is important here: iterate. Let's check Google and see what iteration means. To iterate over something. Iterate. So iteration is perform or utter repeatedly repetition of a process in order to generate sequence or outcomes. So I believe already most of us are familiar with what iteration means, but in general it just means repeating something over and over again, basically a certain number of times. So the for loop in Python is essentially used to repeat a certain task for is based on some condition that you set, and it's basically best explained with an example, I think. So let me get to show you something we could do. So far we've already known that we can declare a string variable, for example, this way. So let's use a new variable today. I don't want to use the name or state variable, so let's use something like let's say the best for equals to let's say rice and beans. All right. So this is a string, and according to the Python documentation here, or let me say the Python help here, it says that we can iterate through strings, tuples, or lists. So I want to first show you how you can iterate through strings with the for loop. So the for loop is in this form: for target in some expression, then do something. So in Python you have something like this. You will go this way. For, let's say you could do something like for I in best food, then you could say print I. Alright, so what are you doing here? Let's run this first and see what it does. Control V. Let's go through. You see it prints R, then it prints I, C, and everything. So it actually goes through the string one character at a time, printing out each character and then going to the next line and then printing out the next one. So what's really happening here? Here, the best food here is a string variable, right? It's a variable holding the string rice and beans. And then then we have some strange I here that we didn't declare or define anywhere. So what is this essentially? The I here is actually just a variable that is going to be assigned the value that we are considering at any point. So at the beginning of the iteration of this loop, the first character is R, right? So at that point, I is going to be equals to R. Then the next iteration, I will become I will become I. Now, on the next iteration, I will be C, and then continuously till the end. And when the end of the string is reached, then the loop terminates. That is, it ends. That is, this no longer prints anything when you arrive at S. So that's why at this point we have after you print N and then S, and there's no the program finish executing. So in essence, the for loop goes through the list, goes through the items in an iterable data structure. So basically it could be a string, a tuple, or whatever. As long as it supports iteration, then it goes through the list from the beginning. Sorry, it goes through the data structure, the string. For example, in this case we have rice and beans. It goes through from R to S, so from the beginning to the end of the characters. So let's look at another example. We'll still do this. We'll still string in this case now to still demonstrate. Let's say instead of using like a multi-word string in this case, let's go for something simple. Let's say country equals to Nigeria. So in this case, I'm going to remove this. Let's say for look, and you could actually name the you could name this anything. It doesn't have to be I. So you could have something like this. You could say for letter in Nigeria, sorry, in country, you could say print letter. Since this makes more sense, obviously, you say like for each letter in the variable name country, you should print out the letter. You should print out the letter to the screen. And if we save this and then run, what do we have? Nigre to the end. So this is what for loop does when you are iterating through a string. Now let's see how it behaves when you are iterating through a list. Let's create a list. So let's say countries. In this case, let's say a list of countries. So we have so let's say we have Nigeria, we have Ghana, have Togo, we have Sudan. Alright, so here we have a list of country names. We have 4 of them. So let's attempt to iterate to countries now and see how this behaves. I'm going to comment out this. So let's say for country in countries, let's say print country. And you could do anything here. You could put you could name this to anything. You could put I, you could put X, you could put A. I just put country here so that it makes sense, because each of the items here is a country, right? And we're going through each of them one at a time. So we could just say for each of the items here, basically, sorry, in essence, what we are doing is we are saying for each of the item in the list, print out the item. That's what we are doing, which is the same thing we did here. Like for each of the character in the name of country, we should print out the name. So let's run this and see what it does. Control P. So it prints out Nigeria first, then Ghana, then Togo, then Sudan. So what happened here is that this time around, a single element is the item. For example, the first element here is Nigeria, then followed by Ghana, Togo, and Sudan. So unlike in the string where each character is being where the iteration is going character by character, in this case the iteration here is going element by element. A list is comma separated. So this is what's happening here now. Each item is being printed to the screen. So you see Nigeria, Ghana, Togo. So this is how you use for loop to iterate through items. So we've seen iteration through string, sorry, using string data structure. We've seen iteration using the list data type. So now let's see iteration using the tuple data type. So let's try that. Let's say itables. Say itables is equals to, and let's do something like this. Rice savings. Let's see. What else? Let's say fish and whatever. So now the next iteration, in this case, now I want to test iteration through a tuple, and we want to see how Python behaves in this case. So let's try. Yeah, I'll comment this out. Alright, so let's say for food in tables, print food. Alright, let's save this and let's run. Okay, so you see it behaves similar to the list data type. The iteration also behaves in the same way. Since the rice here is a single element, then beans is a single element, fish is a single element, it also goes through through the whole elements one at a time, and you have rice, beans, and fish. So this is essentially how the for loop behaves in Python. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll be explaining the while construct. Thank you.